Eat like you care. Paying someone else to do the dirty work. You may at this point be outraged and be thinking to yourself, or even saying out loud, "Of course there's a difference. Vic participated directly in the dog fighting and he enjoyed the suffering. I just buy animal products at the store." We certainly enjoy the results of animal suffering and death, but unlike Vic, we don't enjoy the actual process of suffering and death. Although that may be true, it is irrelevant from a moral point of view. As any first-year law student will tell you, criminal law is clear in that it does not matter whether you pull the trigger or whether you hire someone else to pull the trigger. It's murder in both cases. It may be true that the person who pulls the trigger or plunges the knife or swings the hatchet is less of a nice person in some sense than the one who just pays for the fee. After all, it takes a certain sort of person to engage in the physical act of killing another person. The person who actually does the act may be a sadist who enjoys watching other humans suffer, but it's still murder for both the person who does the act and sadistically enjoys doing so, and the person who pays for the homicide. We treat them the same legally because from a moral point of view, they are the same. Similarly, the person who enjoys killing animals or watching them kill each other may be more personally brutal than the one who pays another to do the killing. So there may be a psychological difference between the person who pays another to kill and the person who kills, but as far as moral culpability is concerned, there is no difference. Would your assessment of Vic be any different if he financed the dogfighting operation but never attended it personally? It makes Vic a more brutal person that he actually enjoyed watching dogfighting and apparently participated directly in killing the dogs. But that's a psychological matter and has no bearing on his moral culpability. There's no difference between person X, who kills the dog, and let's say person Y, who says to person X, "Kill that dog, but wait until I leave because I'm squeamish." The fact that we pay others to impose the suffering and death on animals does not get us off the moral hook. There are some people who say that the difference between Vic and those who just consume animal products is that the latter do not really know the suffering that animal products entail. We have a hard time accepting that position. After all, no one over the age of 4 thinks that meat grows on trees. Even if you don't know the exact process involved and don't know all of the horrible things that happen to animals, you know that animals have to be slaughtered to get meat, and no one thinks that a slaughterhouse is anything but a place of absolute horror. Many of us have even seen videos or photographs or even just written descriptions concerning the horrors involved in the production of meat, dairy, and eggs. And if you haven't, you need to do so. That's my interjection there. And often the response from these people is to turn away and reply with something such as, "Don't show that to me. You'll put me off my dinner." The bottom line is clear. We all know that our meat involves suffering and killing. No one doubts that. So it's not really even that those who consume animals don't know about the suffering. Of course they do. Yes, there is a psychological difference between Michael Vick and someone who just consumes animal products and would never kill an animal herself or himself. But that is a psychological difference and not a moral one. From all accounts, Vic treated his dogs in an appalling way. There's no doubt that many of them suffered a great deal. But frankly, the animals whose bodies many of us will eat tonight at dinner suffered every bit as much, if not a great deal more, than Vic's dogs. Similarly, many people who consume meat object to hunting. When we ask them why they object, given that they eat meat, dairy, and eggs, etc., they'll often reply, "Because there's something worse about killing the animal yourself. I would never be able to look at an animal and just shoot it with a bullet or an arrow." Again, that response identifies a psychological fact, not anything that is morally relevant. Indeed, the animal who was raised and killed to make the hamburger probably had, on balance, a much worse life than the animal killed by the hunter. So, although killing the animal in both situations is not necessary, if there is any difference between these two situations, it is that the former is actually worse because it involves more suffering. I strongly suggest watching the documentary on YouTube called Dominion. You can click on the link above. To hear the next chapter, please go to my next video on my YouTube page. Please like and subscribe.